Hello, my name is Mike and this is the home of Guns and Horsepower. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how I find OEM parts for my Porsche Panamera at a huge discount. My method for locating discounted OEM parts applies to all the German brands, Porsche, Mercedes, BMW, and Audi. Since they're made in Germany, the cars are comprised mostly of German-made parts. And these manufacturers don't make the parts themselves, they outsource them to companies within the country. There just isn't a lot of parts manufacturers in the country, so that makes it a lot easier to determine exactly where your parts came from. And once you found out who the actual manufacturer of the parts are, you can then go about to do a search and find those parts for much cheaper than the original OEM branded parts from the dealership. So I have an example here of this. This is an OEM Porsche ignition coil bought from a Porsche dealership, and it's branded in a Porsche box. Go ahead and take the part out of the box. Take a closer look at the part number, or you can see it there. You can see the Diamond P logo. It then has the Porsche part number, but I don't know if you can see that right there. There we go. There's the manufacturer, BERU, Bureau, made in Germany. Now if you buy this part from a Porsche dealership, it's going to run you about $75 each coil. If you buy it branded in a Bureau box, it's going to run you about $35 for each coil. And I've even seen some where when you buy them branded Bureau, the Diamond P Porsche logo will just be ground off. It actually literally will be physically removed from the part. So here's an example of a part you can buy. It's the identical part that comes from Porsche. It just doesn't have the Diamond P logo, doesn't come in the Porsche branded box, but you can get it for half the price. This is just one example. Another example is the filters on the Porsche. Pretty much all the filters, oil filter, air filter, cabin filter, are made by a company called Mahle, M-A-H-L-E. And in fact, the oil filter, if you buy it from Porsche, runs you $35 just for the filter element itself. And one side of the filter will say the Porsche and the Porsche part number. The other side will have the Mahle part number. So when you buy it branded in a Mahle box, it includes the O-ring, which I think costs an additional $13 from Porsche. And you can get that filter for about $17, like I said, with the O-ring. Another example would be spark plugs. The Porsche Panamera uses a Bosch spark plug. The spark plug from Porsche, it comes in a Porsche box. The writing on the plug is in green, I believe, and they're about $30 a plug. You buy it just from Bosch, exact same part number, exact same part. The writing on the plug, I believe, is blue, and you can pay about $4 a spark plug. So there's a few examples of some parts, actually regular maintenance parts, that you can find for a fraction of the price. All right, well, the reason I started this video is that I'm in the market for a new set of brakes on my Porsche Panamera. And I'd like to go with aftermarket upgrade, but there's just no manufacturers out there, no companies make a performance upgrade kit for the Panamera. And I don't want to have to buy some cheap aftermarket stuff either. I'm looking for some high quality OEM brakes at a great price. So I'm going to go ahead and search the internet, try to find OEM Porsche parts, or at least the manufacturer, the supplier of those parts, and try to find the lowest price out there for a full set of brake parts for my Panamera. So let's go ahead and I'll show you what I can find. Alright, so I started my internet search for Porsche OEM parts, and this was the first Porsche dealership that Yahoo brought up. So I went ahead and put together a parts list for all the brake parts that I'll need. That's front rotors, caliper bolts, brake pads, rear rotors, caliper bolts, brake pads, and wear sensors. So just to give you a reference here, this is the Porsche OEM part number for the front rotors. You got left and right, 301 and 302. You're looking at $340 a piece. Caliper bolts $450 each, brake pad set $308. Wear indicators roughly $39. Rear caliper bolt $519 a piece. Rear rotors $259.83, and pad set $236. Rear indicators $37, for a grand total of $1,926. Now I did another search for a parts store that I've ordered from before that sells OEM Porsche parts. It's a Porsche dealer, but their website is labeled as, let's see if we can get there. There we go. PorschePartsNow.com. So I went ahead, they use the same exact search engines. You can see the cart looks exactly the same. So we got the same part numbers there. As you can see, the rotor's a lot cheaper. Instead of $340, we're looking at $214. So this is OEM Porsche parts, but I'm able to find them at a lot cheaper price. And the total here for the same OEM Porsche parts of $1,293. And you dig a little deeper, you can find them even cheaper. Now I've gone over to FCPE Euro's website and got all the same parts list: rotors, pads, wear sensors, and caliper bolts. And we're looking at $764.77. So we've saved quite a lot. But granted, these aren't Porsche labeled parts, but I believe that this Sebro company is the manufacturer of the brake, rotors, and sensors on my Porsche Panamera. And in fact, I know that Textar is the brand of pads for my Porsche Panamera, because the pads that came off were branded Textar. Now I'll go with another website that I have used before, Autohaus Arizona, AZ, and all the same parts list, and we end up with a much lower price yet, even $653.50. Alright, here's some of the research that I've done to determine that the Sebro company is in fact the manufacturer of my Porsche Panamera brakes. This is from Autohaus Arizona's website, and they list an OEM disc brake rotor for the front. Now I've did some research on their website, and when they list OEM, it means it's the same as the original Porsche brand, but they can't use the manufacturer's name, so they just have to list it as OEM. And as you can see by the photo, it's identical to the Sebro. The part numbers are identical. And on another note, these part numbers also match up with the Porsche part numbers. Now the OEM branded rotor is a little bit more expensive than the Sebro branded, but in my opinion, these are exactly the same part. You can see they have the exact same part number, just that OE changes to the Sebro number to indicate it. As you can see by the photo, they look identical. They have the same sort of finish. And the only other brake manufacturer in Germany that produces for the OEM manufacturers is the Zimmermann company. But their brake rotors have their Zimmermann coat, which, as you can see, it's all over, and it's like a flat gray kind of coating. Whereas the Sebro brakes are machined on the surface, so no coating, and then the center hub has this kind of grayish olive green kind of color, and that color matches up exactly with the OEM rotors that came off of my Panamera. So I'll go ahead and show you those next, but I'm 100% positive that these are the exact same rotors as you would get from Porsche for a fraction of the cost. Okay, so this is the old rotor, the original rotor, front rotor that came on the Porsche Panamera, and as you can see, it has that similar finish. I mean, granted, it's a bit dirtier, but it has that, it's kind of a grayish green finish on it. Definitely not the same color like that Zimmermann disc where it's all silver. And then I'll show you here on the side, it's got, I'm writing here, if we can see that. So it has the Diamond P logo, so that's indicating that it's an original Porsche part, but then it has this SHW. I don't know, I just instinctively think that has something to do with Sebro's company, since it starts with an 8S. I mean, it says made in Germany. But in my opinion, this is a rotor manufactured by Sebro. Another indication, if you look on theirs, same with those pictures I showed you earlier, you can see that they label them just like that, left and right. So definitely has all the indications of being a Sebro manufactured rotor. To sum up, European cars are more expensive to maintain, but just not as expensive as you might think. And in some cases, some of the maintenance parts aren't much more than those on an American car. So a 15-minute search online got me from $1,926 for the brakes down to $655 for exactly the same parts. That's a savings of 67%. And you can do that for a lot of different parts on your European car. You just got to spend a little bit of time online. You start by finding the manufacturer's OEM part number and just simply search that part number online. You'll be able to save hundreds of dollars by just doing a little bit of research online, just a few minutes. But if you want to dig deeper like I did, you need to know what your parts look like. Then you can visit like an OEM parts website like I did, FCPE Euro or Autohaus AZ, match them up and find them at a much lower price like I did. I mean, I feel I was able to find the exact same parts that Porsche are offering for, like I said, 67% of the price. So I hope you found this video useful. Hope you found the information informative. And once again, thank you for watching. Please browse the channel and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.